good morning. It's Monday. Yes, scrappy. That was perfect timing for a shake. I'm filming outside today, so I'm going to film a little bit each day. So I'm going to tell you about yesterday first. So yesterday, I have a cup of coffee outside, my favourite cup. Yesterday I took part again in the sewing retreat with Quilt Yarn Stitch, and we had a great turnout yesterday, loads of lovely ladies, and I made this top. Now this wasn't on my sewing plans video last week, of course, but hey, that's kind of how my sewing life rolls. I saw the great Instagram dress up challenge this week run by Charlene and Roisin, a hint of print. You'll have seen, by the time you see this video, you'll have seen everybody's daily posts. So today, Monday, is dots, and I have dots in the wardrobe, but I had this top cut out, and you know it, it's my favourite double ruffle sleeve top, the Free Sewing magazine pattern. I love it. This is number 4, I think. So I had this cut out, and I just thought, do you know what, that's a lovely little project for the sewing retreat yesterday. It goes on for 4 hours, but I generally do about 3 because it kind of overlaps over dinner and stuff. So yeah, I made this little top, and I'm wearing it today with a pair of jeans, kind of summer capri trousers. I'll stick in a picture. These have been in my wardrobe for years. One of my probably little wood buys, I think, years ago. They're so stretchy, so they still fit. However many years later, I think that's all down to the stretch. They're dead comfy actually, and they sit and fit in all the right places. So I was looking at them this morning, and I was thinking, will I chance doing cloning them? I don't know. I think I should be able to. I used to never buy patterns. I used to always clone clothes or used old patterns, but now it's just so easy to get a pattern on a PDF. I think I've actually got quite lazy. So I'm going to, and I have loads and loads of patterns, like really and truly there's no need for me to buy another pattern. I should be able to make something I like just by putting loads of patterns together. But you know, you see a new pattern and you just want to make it, and you download it, you print it, and you make it. It's just so quick. Whereas years ago we'd have to go to the fabric shop, buy the pattern. Sometimes you'd have to order it and wait. So I used to always just use what I had or clone my patterns. So I know trousers are a faff to clone, but I'm going to give it a go. Now they're very, very stretchy, and they're really, really comfy. And I actually found another pair of white trousers in my wardrobe this morning that again are donkeys, like donkeys years old. I think they're possibly 20 odd years old, and they fit. Now they're tighter. They're definitely tighter than they were, but again they have a really nice fit, and they don't do all the smiling around the crotch area and the gathering around the knees faffing that I had last week. So I'm not going to wear them because they're like a funny boot cut shape, so I'm actually going to take them apart, I think, and try cloning them that way, and just put in the little bit of extra that I need around the different places. So yeah, that's what's happening this morning. That's on my sewing brain this morning. The other thing I have on my sewing brain this morning is I'm curious about stretch. I love stretch fabrics. And I have loads of stretch fabrics in my stash. And when I go back to the descriptions of those different stretch fabrics, they all say that they have about 3% stretch. But they don't all have the same stretch. Like when I stretch the fabrics out, they have completely different stretches. So some of them have minimal stretch, whereas other ones have serious stretch. So what I'm wondering is, how can the description say 3% stretch for all these different fabrics, and yet they all have completely different amounts of stretch? How do you test stretch? So that's my question for today. Good morning from lovely sunny Ireland again. It's Tuesday, and I didn't have a very productive sewing day yesterday, but I did a lot of digging in the garden. It was absolutely gorgeous out, so I had my sun hat on. I changed into longer trousers, and I did a lot of digging, and it was much needed. There was a lot of weeds to be pulled out. Now I had done the PE with Joe in the morning, so I can tell you something, I slept really well last night. I ached walking up those stairs to bed last night, but I had a really good night's sleep, and I feel very refreshed this morning. I'm wearing this dress today for the Hint of Print challenge. So today's prompt for a hint of print is floral. So I'm wearing my Floral and Frida Pattydoo Amelie dress. This is a really cool dress. I really like this. It's got a knot detail just here to one side. So it's really simple to make, really quirky, and really flattering to wear. It's just so comfy. I made 3 of these last summer, and I wore them so much, and anytime I wore them they were admired. It's a really clever pattern. It's just so clever. The top and skirt of the front of the dress are cut out in 2 different pieces, and they're joined in such a way that you don't actually see the join. It's just, yeah, it's just so clever. I can't rave on it enough about it. I've made this dress from 1 metre of fabric with a little bit of leftovers. It's from the German pattern designer called Pattydoo. Now she has 2 websites. She has a German website and she has an English website. What you can hear, the little clicky clacky noises, are the dogs walking around the deck. So yeah, she has an English website and a German website. Now the German website has all her patterns on it, and the English website has some of her patterns on it. I don't think this one is actually on the English website. Now, loads of things I really like about it. All her patterns are €3.99 each. Yes, they're all PDFs. They come in a massive range of sizes. I bought quite a few of them last year, and I found that once I chose which size to make, it fit really beautifully. There was no alterations. Even the length was perfect on this dress. I didn't have to change a bit. I was very sceptical when I was looking at the pattern pieces that it was going to fit me, but it just, yeah, it whizzed up really quickly. Fit really well. Most of her patterns are made from jersey fabrics, and they're made entirely on the overlocker. Now I didn't make this one on the overlocker. I used a stretch stitch and I overlocked after. I'm always very skeptical about my overlocker, that it's actually going to, you know, stay together. I think I'm a bit old school when it comes to sewing. So basically on her German website, all her patterns. There's a huge range for ladies, men's and children, and there's a lot of free patterns as well. So there's a load of bags and little craft ones that you can get for free. When you download the PDF, all the instructions are in German. So either do a little bit of Google translating or just make it up as you go along. Or what I find really clever is that all her patterns have a video tutorial. So she makes it step by step in the video, which is really good. Now she does speak in German, obviously. I don't have any German at all whatsoever, but I've managed to follow all her patterns. The ones that you get on her English site are all explained in English, but as I say, not all the patterns are on the English site. So I generally go to the German site, and I've had, yeah, no problems at all. I've made this dress, the Amelia. I've made a Chloe dress. I've made a Marie dress, and they're just so easy to make and so quick to come together. And yet they all have a little quirk on them, so they look quite complicated. I've used a sweatshirt pattern for children's as well. I downloaded a pole sweatshirt, I think it's called, and I make that for my niece regularly. And yeah, I've a load of them. There's a lot of really lovely basic patterns that you could do a lot of hacking with, and some absolutely great patterns. So I would highly recommend going to check them out. And of course the bonus is they're just $3.99. So the other great thing that arrived yesterday was my Simply Sewing magazine. I subscribe to Simply Sewing, so I really love seeing it come in the post. And it was just such a bonus this week because I'm really missing my sewing magazines. I usually pick up Love Sewing magazine when I'm out shopping, and I really miss that. I really like that one. I got a subscription to Simply Sewing magazine last year, and it was really heavily discounted, so I snapped it up straight away. I haven't managed to get a subscription to Love Sewing magazine that makes it affordable for me to actually subscribe, simply because the postage to Ireland is quite expensive. So I haven't actually looked through the magazine yet, but I was really taken by one of the patterns that arrived. So it's this lovely top. So I think this is going to be really nice for a petite figure. I'm just really, really drawn to it. Now, I'm not always drawn to the patterns that come free. I have a big stack of them. I have a big stack that I'm going to keep because a lot of them are lovely basic patterns, but I have a big stack as well that when it comes to a pattern swap, they're going to be in it because I just don't see myself making them at all. But I was really, really drawn to this one yesterday, and then I realised that it's actually designed by Fiona Hesford, who is the founder of Sewgirl. And why that made me so interested, because the top I was wearing yesterday, which is my favourite top of all times with the double ruffle sleeve, is actually a Sewgirl pattern as well. So obviously I have to look out for more of Fiona's patterns. I just seem to be very drawn to them. So this is a really, really cute top. I really like this. It's got an elasticated waist, which gives it a little sort of a peplum look and a little drawstring through it. So I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to try this. There's two little cuff details on it. It's got a little elastic one, which I really like. And then the other one, I think, even though I haven't looked at it very closely, seems to have like a nice like pleated detail. Now maybe that's just the way I'm looking at it, but that's how it looks. So this is definitely going into my try it out pile, which seems to be getting much, much bigger. So I need to get the Sojo back. I've loads of projects cut out and I really want to go sewing them, but I find it really hard to go sewing on these really sunny days. I'd rather be out digging the garden. So until tomorrow, have a great Tuesday. So it's Thursday. I didn't film anything yesterday because I got up yesterday morning and I just felt meh, one of those mornings, and I just couldn't get out of it all day. So I was so excited about the sewing bee for last night. I tried to film the sew along to the Estelle jacket, so I've half of that done. Really struggled with lighting yesterday in my sewing room. Just one of those days, one of those days where no matter what you do, it just doesn't feel right, it doesn't go right. I dropped everything yesterday. One of those days. But anyway, the highlight of yesterday, of course, was the Great British Sewing Bee last night. I sat down, I relaxed, I let go of all my tensions. I set up, and this is the funniest part about it actually, was my good friend Anne-Marie in the Crafty Studio. Unfortunately doesn't have the channel BBC One. So, there was no way she could go without actually watching it. Now, in normal times, she probably would have gone to a friend's house to watch it, but that wasn't an option. So I set up my tripod and I set up my camera so it was focused on my TV, and I WhatsApped the Great British Sewing Bee to her. So it was great because I felt like I had company. Now I had my daughter and she really enjoyed it as well because she does watch the Sewing Bee and everything with me. She's always involved. But it was great fun to have a little bit of a chat back and forth and to go ooh and ah and oh, I don't know if I'd have done that way, and oh, that skirt is lovely. So it was great to have that little bit of chatter going on. It's great fun. Thank God for technology. Imagine being so involved in sewing and actually missing the Great British Sewing Bee. That would be just horrendous. So yeah, that's how I watched the Great British Sewing Bee last night, with the volume up very loud and with Anne-Marie in my camera, or in my phone, watching it. And yesterday this arrived, so how pleased was I? I waited for this actually on Tuesday and it didn't arrive, and I was just so afraid it was going to get lost. And I actually feel like I almost know the book inside out already because I've seen so many reviews and some sneak peeks of it. I haven't, believe it or not, I haven't actually opened it yet because I want to sit down with time, maybe in the garden later on, and I want to just go through it page by page. I have borrowed the books from the library, some of the previous books from the library, but I've never actually owned one. So this is my first one, and I do love the fact that it comes in a box, and I do love the fact that you can store all your patterns in the box. because the ones I borrowed from the library had like a little slot at the back. I'm sure you're familiar with them. They're completely new to me. I have watched the series over the years, but I never even knew there was a book. I mean, where was I? How did I not know that? So yeah, I'm so thrilled. This arrived yesterday. I watched the DPD man arrive and I watched him turn his van around and drive off, and I thought, oh my God, he's gone with my book. But no, he left it on the wheelie bin, which is, the thank God for the wheelie bins outside the gate. So I'm going to have a good look at that later. And yesterday I also, actually this arrived on Tuesday. I got my Broderie Amelie fabric and I totally love it. I found this on Love Fabric Ireland, and it's just, I know it's quite old fashioned, but I love it. I just love it. It just brings me back to dresses I had as a child. And I opened this package yesterday and my daughter really loved it. So I think I'm going to order some more of it. It's a stripe version of a Broderie Amelie. So it's got 3 patterns and they're in 3 stripes across. So I ordered 1.5 meters because my plan was to make a top. And I haven't got it. I haven't got a pattern in mind for the top, but I will do some looking on Pinterest. I was looking through Pinterest for ideas for a dress I want to make, and I've also pinned a few tops, but now I need to go and search for Broderie Amelie tops. I've no idea if I'm saying that right, but that's my fabric. I am so thrilled with that, and it's so white. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, I was chatting to Anne-Marie about it yesterday, and she said that she actually has a Broderie Amelie cotton in stock, so she sent me a picture of it and I really, really like it. It's a beautiful white as well, and it's an all over print. So I've ordered 3 meters of it from her, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into 2 1.5 meter pieces. I think, the way my plans change, and I think I'm actually going to dye it because it's pure cotton, and obviously the threading is cotton as well, so it should be very successful to dye. Because I'm dying for like a corally orange colour, and I have 3 dyes in my stash from when I was making hats and things before. So I don't know if dyes go out of date, but I have a flamingo pink and I have a sunflower yellow and I have an ocean blue. So they're kind of primary colours, so they're very adaptable. I see my dog running back and forth there, bless her. She loves a little trip around in the morning. Loves to nosy and see what happened during the night while she was asleep. So yeah, that's my plan. So I'm looking forward to trying that. I haven't done any fabric dyeing for years, so I'm hoping I probably have to do a test piece first, I suppose, and then dunk it all in and hope for the best. So yeah, that's one of my next plans. Today is day 4 of the hint of print. I don't really think about that. The days just go past so fast and also so slow that it's so hard to keep up. And today is animal print. Now again, no more than the floral, I had loads to choose from. So I pulled out one of my Sew Over It Eve dresses. This is made from a lovely viscose from Minerva Crafts last year. I found that it's quite low on me. The first Eve dress I made was in a 12 because that's what the pattern suggested, but it was actually quite big, so it was very big on the shoulders. It seemed to be very big everywhere. And then I made a 10 and that fits much, much nicer, but I have to have a top inside. I mean, there's no way I could go out. I'd be flashing a very small neighbourhood. So I always wear a top inside anyway. And I'm also always very conscious of the fact that these dresses tie up and those ties can get undone, so I'd rather avoid anything embarrassing. I do find with the Eve dress, and I absolutely love it, I have 3 of them. I've made them all the same. I think I made 1 and then I made 2 straight away after. I made 2 in one day. They're really, really fast. I think Sew Over It are doing a sew along to the Eve dress, maybe starting today, I'm not quite sure. I've been watching some of them live, but I've been watching more of them sort of on catch up in the evenings. I am finding when I wash it, well, this one in particular, I washed this one. It came out beautiful. Apart from the fact that the ties are so long, this one actually got caught around all the washing and one of the ties got pulled off. Thankfully it didn't get damaged, I just sewed it back on, didn't rip any of the fabric, but I thought, right, I have to be far more careful. I've been very lucky with the other two. I've had no problems at all. They've went in and come out of the washing. I never thought of the tie scenario. So maybe I need to tie them into like a double bow, or maybe I need to put the actual dress into a pillowcase to wash it. I don't know. Have you had any problems? Anybody who's made an Eve, have you had any problems with it in the washing machine? So I did, yeah, I started my Estelle sew along yesterday. It was, yeah, semi successful, I think. I just felt it was really dark yesterday. So I'm in my sunroom today, and I think I'm actually going to move some of my sewing in here. So I really, do you know, I don't like doing that because I feel I've taken over most of the house with my sewing, because I have my sewing workroom here just off the sunroom. It's all closed up at the moment, there's no machines running. It's actually quite sad, but I'm not the only person, so I have to get over that. But I think I'm going to move my Husqvarna out here today and do some sewing. I'm going to finish the rest of that sew along. I think it'll just be easier to film. It's just much brighter. And that's, I think, what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to make my Harper cardigan as well, because I have that cut out. I may film a little sew along. We'll see how the camera work goes. I don't feel I'm very good at doing the camera work, but I do my best. So I'm dying to make my denim dress, so that's definitely on my list. Today is Thursday, but you know, we have Friday, Saturday and Sunday. There's no deadlines in any of this, is there? I feel sometimes I put myself under pressure to make things, but when the weather is so nice like this, it's just lovely to get out and catch up in the garden, because God knows what the weather's going to be like in a couple of days again. It's quite overcast this morning, but yeah, I think it's going to be another beautiful day. So happy Thursday, and I'll chat to you tomorrow. Hello, it's Saturday. I can't believe it's Saturday. This week has absolutely flown. And the first thing I want to do is say hello and welcome to my new subscribers. Completely thanks to Kristen of the Dahlia Society. Kristen very kindly gave me a shout out in one of her videos this week. I love watching her channel. She uploads twice a week, and her videos are just so informative and so colourful, and she films in her garden, which is absolutely stunning at the moment. So thank you so much to Kristen, and yeah, welcome to all my new subscribers, and I hope you stay and enjoy my channel. I see my little dog is walking around again. She's obviously out having a sniff again to see what's going on. So I'm filming again out of my sunroom today. I'm sorry, I'm very congested. The pollen count must be really high at the moment. The sun is splitting the rocks again this morning, and it's just 10 o'clock. So it's very unusual for Ireland. So I've had a busy week, not a busy week sewing, but a busy week. I am actually exhausted after it. I've really been struggling lately with the lighting in my sewing room. I think particularly because it's so beautiful outside, it just feels so dark in my sewing room. So I filmed a video during the week of a sew along for the Estelle jacket, and I filmed some of it in my sewing room. I filmed some of it out here. So I had the two ends of the scale. I had a very dark sewing room, and then I had almost too bright and too hot sunroom. But yeah, what a struggle. Light is just so important. So funnily enough, yesterday I started doing my ironing in the morning because it's just been mounting, and I was in what I call my ironing room, which sounds really pompous. I don't have an ironing room. I have a spare bedroom where my daughter grew up as a little girl in, so it's pink and white, and she moved downstairs last year, I think it was, and I just dumped everything into her old bedroom. So the ironing went in there, the treadmill went in there. And yeah, I avoid the room at all costs because I don't like the treadmill, and I definitely don't like the ironing board. So, but anyway, yesterday I thought, right, I'm going to get the ironing done. It was quite cool in the morning, so I just thought, right, I'll get it done. And while I was doing the ironing, I thought, God, this room is really lovely and bright. Now it points in the same direction as my sewing room, but my sewing room is downstairs, and this room is upstairs, and it also has a side window, and the light is just beautiful. So as I did the ironing, I hatched a plan. I tried to talk myself out of it and then talk myself into it. and then I just went for it. I finished the ironing, put it away, almost emptied the room. Now there wasn't an awful lot in it anyway, and I moved my downstairs room upstairs. So I dragged and I pulled. I actually counted 13,000 steps on my Fitbit yesterday, and most of that was actually going upstairs. So I found it really hard to sleep last night because my shins and my feet were actually so sore. But I got so involved in it, I didn't realise I was doing so much work. But yeah, I've got an almost put together sewing room at the moment, and I am loving it because the light is so amazing. I am going to show you. I'm going to show you it in an almost finished form. I also now have a very messy sewing room downstairs that I have to finish, and I have a slightly messy bedroom because I had to put the treadmill in there, and I have a slightly messy workroom because I took some of the furniture out of my workroom to go into my sewing room. Now my workroom is also a sewing room. If anybody's interested in seeing my workroom, I'll show it in another video. So I'll just bring you along to show you my messy sewing rooms. So here we have what was my sewing room yesterday, and you can see how dark it is. My desks were there, now they're not. I've emptied most of this shelving. What I did yesterday was I stopped when I actually felt totally exhausted, because what happens is I keep going and I bring things and put them into a position and they never get tidied, which is like this shelf here, which contains boxes that might be 10, 15 years old at this stage, and they've never been sorted. So I've left them there because, yeah, when I get tired, I just put them into position, or I'll just go, look at, you know what, I haven't looked at that in 10 years, I'm going to throw it out, and it might have very important things in it. So this room is going to be sorted slowly but surely over the next few days. And now I'll show you my new sewing room. And this is my almost finished new sewing room. So my machines are sitting proudly. It's much, much brighter. I have 2 windows. These are the wardrobes that used to be my daughter's wardrobe, obviously. There's the Hoover, evidence I actually cleaned. My ironing board sits in the corner. I took the cover off yesterday. It was an absolute disaster, so I'll make a new one there. And I carried all this furniture up yesterday, brought up the mannequin, thread, and these boxes. I'm just going to do a sneak peek because when it is done, I will do a full video on what I've done for storage. So yeah, really, really happy. Can't wait to come up here and sew. So that was a little part of each day of my week. Today I hope that I'm going to start a little bit into my denim dress. It's absolutely gorgeous outside, and I am really gagging to get out in the garden just to, you know, enjoy the bit of sun while we have it. But I'm also dying to try out my new sewing room, which, you know, only a sewist could understand. So I think, yeah, a little bit of progress will be done on the denim dress today. I'm also going to tackle a little bit of that shelf in the old sewing room, just to open a box or 2 bit by bit and just actually put everything together. And yeah, here into a new week. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the format of it. I really do hope it works. And yeah, I'll see you all soon in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.